How's it going, guys? I have some plants I'm really excited to get in the ground today. I have 5 of these right here. This is the Proven Winners Diamond Snow Euphorbia, and it is so beautiful. Look at those plumes on there. I grew 5 of these last year, and I fell in love with them. So they're actually gonna go right somewhere over there in that flower bed there. I've got 5 of them, like I said, and there's 3 different varieties of Euphorbia that Proven Winners grows. This is the Diamond Snow. They also grow Diamond Frost and Diamond Mountain. And they're all a little bit different. I prefer the Snow because it gets the most blooms. This is it right now with just like very few blooms. This whole plant will basically just be white and you won't be able to see any of the green foliage in there at all. It gets about 18 inches tall, and I found that true last year also, that it did get about that big, and it spread for us. It says about 12 to 18 inches tall and wide. It got about 24 inches, it got about 2 feet wide for us. So that was a pleasant surprise. I loved the way that this filled out, and I loved how bright the white was. It is like pure white. The blooms on this thing are so beautiful. And so I have 5 of these to go plant over in that bed, and they want as much sun as possible. So this bed only gets sun in the morning. Right now it's about 10 o'clock, and in about 45 minutes that bed is going to be in full sun for the entire day, literally until like the sun goes down. So as much sun as you can give this thing, the happier it'll be. We have drip set up over there, so I don't have to worry about water. It's drought tolerant, and it is hardy in zones 10 and 11. So if you're in those warmer zones and you want something that is super hardy, this is it for you. It died for us last year because we got way below 32 degrees this year, which is kind of crazy for us. So let me kind of go over the characteristics of this plant with the 3 different ones. So the Diamond Snow, it, like I said, it turns into like a mass of like white. And then the Diamond Frost is the exact same plant, but it has less white blooms. So if you don't just want like a stark white plant and you want these like airy plumes on it almost, that's a really good one for you. And it gets the same exact size as this one. And then there's the Diamond Mountain, and the Diamond Mountain is basically the same plant as the Diamond Frost, except it gets so much bigger. It gets 24 to 36 inches tall and wide, but it still has that same airy plumes. Really beautiful plant. But like I said, I want the like pow of white, especially in this bed over here, because it's such a hot, dry area of the garden, and I think that the white might like cool it down just a little bit. Yeah, so now let's just go get these guys in the ground. I am really happy to have this plant. I picked these up at Home Depot, by the way. They were $6.48 per plant, and honestly, I think that's, for Proven Winners, I think that's worth it. I don't mind paying that much just because I know how well these plants perform. Some other brands I would walk the other way. Wouldn't even pay attention to it if it was that much for some random brand. But I really trust these ones, especially growing them last year in our garden. Last year when I planted it, we planted it right here in this bed, and this one gets pretty much like that bed right there gets very, very little sun. It gets maybe a couple hours throughout the day and it is filtered, but they still performed so well. So I'm really excited to see what they'll do in somewhere that gets just so much sun. One thing to know about this plant though is if you were to break open these stems or whatever they are, I think they're stems. Yeah, if you break open one of these stems, it does secrete a like white sap that is like a latex, and so if you have a latex allergy, they do say to stay away from it and maybe don't plant this in your garden. I am all good, so I'm still gonna plant it, but if that is something that does bother you, that is something that maybe you should take into consideration when planting this. Either wear gloves or just maybe don't plant it at all. Yeah, so let's go get these guys planted. Okay, so you guys can see these are the 5 plants that I have of the Euphorbia. This is the bed, and the only reason that it's actually in shade is because of the fence right here is casting a shade. But here I have some mums dotted. They were all the way down, but I think a few of them died, so there's only 2 of them, and they're like a red and an orange color, I think. This is a snowball viburnum that's doing really well. And then here I have a peony and another peony. They're both 3 years old, and they do this every year. This one is slow to come up, and this one comes up so much faster and so much stronger. So I'm really hoping that I get lots of blooms this year, as it's its third year. I have a Fastigiae blue spruce. This is a kale that I planted 2 years ago, and here it is. I literally just cut it back and leave the stem, and it just regrows. So I leave it. A endless summer hydrangea. I can't quite remember what that is. And this is a scabiosa. And you guys, the stems on this thing are massive. Like, they're just huge stems. Look at that right there. Massive. The rose that I transplanted is doing really well. All budded out, happy. And then this is a snapdragon, and that is a different type of euphorbia. So I'm just gonna drift these guys along in here. I'll probably have one tucked right where that one is. And I'll do another one there, and maybe here. So it'll be just a little drift of these guys. And I think that that'll bring the color that I need. I need some white. I needed something in here. Oh, and also this Italian cypress is gonna go. And so is that one. This fence was built way after we planted these. They're doing really weird things. I don't know what's going on, but those are all gonna go. But that is gonna stay. That won't get super huge. I think it's like 8 feet wide or something like that, and it is about 2.5 feet away from the fence. So it'll hit the fence, but it'll be fine. And yeah, so let's get these guys in the ground. Okay, well, I was putting Lola in the front yard, and I totally just ripped my shorts. Look at that. So y'all are gonna get a little skin action today. I am not going in and changing. Not worth it. So just ignore that. I know they're ripped. Now let's get these in the ground. Hopefully it doesn't get too much worse. Okay, well, that already looks so much better. Just brings a little bit of color to a spot that was completely dead. I've had a really, I'm gonna sneeze. I hate sneezing. Okay, anyways, I've had a really hard time with this flower bed pretty much since we moved in. This is one of the very first areas that I actually even planted anything, and things just don't do very well here. There used to be a massive tree right here, and there is also right here, this is the pecan tree, and then a privet, and there was a palm tree, and there was a persimmon tree, and there was just a lot of stuff above this flower bed. And the pecan tree had aphids, the other tree had aphids, and they would drop their honeydew all year long right here on this flower bed. And so everything was sticky. Things were crisping up in the sun because they were like gooey. It was all bad. So my neighbors took out one of the trees, limbed up the persimmon tree. No, they took out the persimmon tree, limbed up the pecan tree, took out another tree, cleaned up the privet tree a bit, and took out a palm tree. So I'm really hoping that this year, those being gone helps with this flower bed and lets things really just be able to perform in this bed. But this already looks so much better in there. I'm really happy with that. So now I'm gonna mulch. Let me show you guys what I'm using. So this is what I use in all of my flower beds. This is the Garden Time Naturally Inspired Pathway Ground Cover. I use this for all of my beds. This is from Home Depot, and I've seen it at Lowe's a couple of times. It's 2 cubic feet per bag. I really, really like this stuff. It's a very natural looking mulch. It breaks down really easily compared to some of those. I'm really shiny. Okay, I'm gonna just hold my hand up because the sun is too much. I have a hat. Do you guys like my hat? It's my sun hat. Okay, let me sit back down. Oh, that is so much better on my face. Okay, so, what are we doing there, buddy? I don't even remember where I was. Oh, so this stuff is so much better than some of that other ground cover. Okay, so Brent's not allowed in the garden, as you guys know. And this mulch is better than the ones that have the big chunks like this. Last year, I put him in charge of buying some mulch while I was at work, and he came back and he bought the big chunky bark. These are even like some of the small pieces. And I came home and the flower bed was mulched, and I hate that stuff. It doesn't break down fast. It's not very good for the soil because they're always dyed with either reds or browns or blacks, and honestly they just fade within a couple months anyways. So I prefer this natural one that doesn't fade very fast, but it does break down within the year. So as it's breaking down, it's also feeding my soil. It's basically turning it to compost just right there on the ground. And I'm gonna reapply mulch every single year regardless. I mean, you can see, so this had mulch in it last year and you couldn't even see the drip tubing, and that was with the big chunky stuff. So I might as well get something that looks a little bit nicer and is also helping improve the soil quality in my garden. So this stuff is my absolute favorite. So I'm gonna just lay one bag out here right now. I need to come through and mulch the entire garden. I have 7 bags sitting in the side yard, and I probably am gonna need maybe 10 to 12 more. I think I already said they're like $7 now. No, I didn't say. I think they're $6.50 a bag now, which is crazy because last year they were like $4.50, maybe. Yeah, they were like $4.50 a bag last year. And that's one of the main reasons that I started buying it, is because it was so cheap and I liked the color of it. So now it's kind of expensive. I mean, as is everything in gardening this last year, 2 years, it's kind of crazy. But I still think that this stuff is worth it. I will continue buying this. I really like how fine it is, and I just like how pretty it looks. It looks very natural, very soft. It doesn't look fake. I want the plants to be able to shine in the garden, not my red mulch. So let's mulch up this area now, and I'll show you guys how it looks. Tell me that that did not just make a huge improvement right there. Oh my gosh. You can see where I ended here and right back there, but you can't see the drip lines anymore. A little bit of mulch goes such a long way, and to get from here all the way to about this water spigot, minus this back area here, and that little bit, 1 bag, that's not bad at all. I'm really, really happy with how that turned out, and these guys are just gonna be so happy, and they're gonna do so beautifully over here. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me in the garden today. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.